Yeah, we just seen some clips of things between you two guys that became very personal. And I think a lot of people couldn't separate fact from fiction in the Attitude Era. A lot of the things that were said in promos were, were a little close to home, or were they? Were they meant to infuriate? Were they meant to sell tickets? Were they meant to dig the other guy? It seemed to me like there was some very tumultuous times. Now, Bret, you're the champion. WCW's making overtures for your services. Shawn is still rolling. How do you remember the early part of 1997, and when were you first approached that, hey, we're going to beat you, and Shawn's going to become the champion again, and we want to do it in Montreal and at Survivor Series?
Oh, I think we were a long ways from that. I mean, WCW had made overtures towards me in '96 in the summer, and then I re-signed with Vince in September. But Shawn had been champion all through that period, and I don't know that I necessarily can fault Shawn for any, but I think the WCW.
We've seen this bit already.
Here, these guys saying that. So, I
don't think I was the only one either. I think there was a lot of guys that didn't buy the injury, and I also understood later that I thought I've always felt later on when I hurt my own knee in the spring, and I.
Right, yeah, I can't remember, man. I'll get up to where we were.
And
let's talk about the infamous screw job.
We started. It was all well on its way to starting to become a real serious.
Well, and also prior to that, we've been sort of the working like an angle, but I was starting to take it personally. I'd heard he mentioned something about my parents. How could they be proud of a son like me? And that would set me off. So I was already starting to,
Right, yeah, I think we've seen this. Forgive me if we haven't, but
let the company.
Oh, I'm not sure where we're at here, man. It's just woken up, literally.
You son of.
Just woken up. You know the first thing I thought about? Lisa, my Latina.
Bitch. And I thought this is.
No, not that. I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that.
Looking at Shawn, he's like, he had that look on his face like.
Love you, Lisa. That just come out. Bret said that, not me.
You son of a bitch. And I thought, this is great. But at the same time, Shawn's really feeling that way. And I kept thinking, that's okay, because this is all going to lead into the pat on the back that Shawn was talking about.
Let me go back a little bit. Fuck it, we'll play it from here.
That are real, that I can play into, that he's no role model, and he's not a good character, and he's not a real baby face like I am, kind of thing. And then when the match got switched, and it's like not you and Shawn at WrestleMania, and ended up being Steve, and ended up being a great match and all, but I didn't know that at the time. I felt shafted by Shawn, and I thought that he had let the company down. And so that's where I think it started. And then the interviews that we had, I accept accountability anyway for a lot of the.
Just gonna go on record with my own opinion on it, man. Yeah, I do think Bret Hart takes it too seriously. No one's ever won the WWE Championship. Vince lets you borrow it, do you know what I'm saying? But it meant something to him, a lot to him, and he was a great wrestler. And he earned the spot, is what he's saying. He deserved to be the man. And yeah, but Shawn was the new generation, man, and fucking hell, I don't know, mate. I don't know. Bret Hart versus Kurt Angle submission match. Oh my God, both at their best. That would have been some match.
So I made about Shawn, and but I do feel that Shawn, went over the line a few times with me too. I mean, I don't necessarily remember what I said about Shawn's parents, but it was, if I did say something about Shawn and his relationship with his parents, it was strictly said in a working sense. To me, all the things I ever said about Shawn were about Shawn Michaels, the wrestling character.
I think Bret's an honest man, but yeah, I think like I say, some people say this was a work, but we all know Bret's promos weren't the best. The guy ain't no fucking Robert De Niro, and he breaks down in this shit, mate. So I'm pretty sure it was for real. Don't know how much of it's true they smacked Vince backstage, but they did fuck him over that night, I believe. And what a weird night, because obviously anyone that knew wrestling was predetermined. Just got to say to my friend, he doesn't know me, but he is my fucking friend, whether he likes it or not, Joe Rogan. I love the fact that he respects WWE. He done an awesome podcast with Jay the Snake, man. That dude is funny. Diamond Dallas Page is a fucking top man. Poor Joe's to tears, man, with his rehab shit. None of it's still on Joe's podcast, but he's got some moving shit on there, man. He talks to Thug Rose for ages, and Pat, and Little Rose, mate. So you saw her in the street and you were a mugger. Imagine seeing her in like a little hoodie, in the dark anyway, in wherever she's from, or fucking if she was in Croydon, England, mate. Oof, muggers would get their arms broke if they were lucky. She must be a mugger's dream. What an easy time, my arms need to go. She'd go all Batman on her ass. You tell me, I'll come back and bring the other one. Everyone, ah! You don't fuck with Thug Rose in or out the cage, mate. 17 and all that. Only one man knows what 17 means. He's in the world and he's top dude and he's kind of talking to me again. There's another geezer that I think I'm done with, man, because I don't know what to do, man. Every time I leave a message, I'm nice and polite and sending off the booze, which in his opinion is my big problem. It's got to the point now where he thinks I'm a fucking lying junkie. He doesn't believe a word I say, mate, as far as I'm concerned. My true colours have been shining bright since day one, mate. His are just being fucking discovered at 40 odd. So what are you going to do? Ball's in his court, mate. I will not phone him again. I will not contact him unless he contacts me, mate, Mr. Archie. I've tried my best with you, son, but obviously you don't want to know, so whatever you got to do, mate. Just have to say, like most people drift apart, man. Maybe one of us moved to fucking Manchester and that was that. But yeah, ball's in your court, mate. I'm all willing to meet. I want to be your mate. I want to forgive and forget. To me, I can't remember what this is about, mate. I know we argued like while I was drunk. Called you selfish because sometimes you throw me in the middle of the fucking chatting off you're not on coke when I was trying to go to fucking sleep, and I let you chat for hours, and next thing you know it's my fault as I keep bringing you in a negative mood, and don't think when you're feeling negative, I don't know, mate. I just feel like when you need someone the most, that's the time. I know you got your own shit, I know you have, mate, but I've always said, man, it doesn't take more than 5 seconds to send a message to someone like, fuck off, I'm busy, you're better than being ignored. Anyway, let's get back to Bret.
Never attacked accountability anyway for a lot of the comments I made about Shawn, and but I do feel that Shawn, went over the line a few times with me too. I mean, I don't necessarily remember what I said about Shawn's parents, but it was, if I did say something about Shawn and his relationship to his parents, it was strictly said in a working sense. To me, all the things I ever said about Shawn were about Shawn Michaels, the wrestling character. I never ever attacked the real life guy.
Yeah, I'm not saying.
And then we started
I couldn't tell the difference between the two.
Yeah, we could. Yeah. It was. I guess what it did is, like, I can remember a couple of times with Shawn saying, "I'm going to go out and I'm going to say this, I'm going to say that, I'm going to say," and Shawn would be like, "Go ahead, I don't care." And then I would go out and I'd say them, but I would say them with such seriousness and such an icy cold tone to them. And I remember thinking, "This is all brilliant. This is going to be so good." And I would come back and like, "How was it?" And everybody like, "It was great." And I remember I was looking at Shawn, and he's like, he had that look on his face like, "You son of a bitch." And I thought, this is great. But at the same time, Shawn's really feeling that way. And I kept thinking, that's okay, because this is all going to lead into the pat on the back that Shawn was talking about, to me, was all coming. I thought it was all sort of understood. And my ultimate goal, believe it or not, was to make Shawn even more so than what he was. I didn't have any problem. I knew, to me, Shawn was the next guy, and I was just stretching my time underneath so that I could do lots with him, but I never had any doubt where it was going to go in the end. I just wanted to stretch it out 2, 3, 4 more matches, and in hindsight, looking back, we probably would have worked similar type of matches for the next 10 years if I hadn't left the company. We would have had so much friction, but I was laying groundwork. But I think, as a credit to myself, I did it in such a realistic, sort of nasty way that I think Shawn went, "This guy's not being legit with me either." And then he started giving it back to me, and that's when we started. It's like, because Shawn, I felt, wasn't attacking my wrestling character; he was attacking me in real life.
Real life, man. Like I was saying, we all knew it was fake, but so the fact that it came out, well, what do you mean you weren't supposed to lose? And then people realised it was fake, and then Vince used it as the evil McMahon character. And to be honest, it wasn't the best era for me, this. 80s for sure, late 80s, Macho Man all that stuff. A little bit before, well, I was alive, but I wasn't into it. I got into it when I was 11. First Royal Rumble I ever saw was 1991. I was 11 years old. First WrestleMania I ever saw live, like on pay-per-view, whatever, was WrestleMania 7, man. Yeah, that's how far back I go, folks, to the 80s, and it was cool until about 91, 92, then it started getting a bit shitty. Then the Attitude Era for me was too much fucking chairs and tables, not enough wrestling. I liked the fucking punk rock of it, of course, and the chicks, fucking hell, Vince was a nutter with those fucking sexy wrestling divas, man. Elizabeth was fucking something else, but some of those chicks, mate, that Trish chick with the tits that would knock out a fucking elephant. God, they were sexy. They must have been porn chicks, Vince, you filthy bastard, you. Sorry, Vince, I love you. Don't fucking have me shot, son. That's what, dude. Yeah, the women, man. God, I'd spend a lot of money to see those chicks, mate. Whoa. Oh, some of them are fucking. Some of them did go into the industry, I think. Fucking sexy bitches, mate. That Paige chick's still out there, man, from fucking England, mate, and she's on the game. Fuck me off, something like that. I'm sorry, darling. You deserve better, both of you all. If you love your sex, mate, and you're fucking for real in the porn game, fucking hell, I'll pay handsomely, mate. Anyway, Jesus Christ, massive sidetrack that is. Yeah, so let's get back to Bret. That's fucking addiction for you, man. I've been waiting for this bird for fucking weeks, and it's coming tomorrow, unless something fucks it up. The only thing that can fuck it up right now is me by thinking about it all the time and overthinking it and fucking it up by, I don't know, if I just ignore her a little bit and don't bust her balls too much about how fucking amazing it's going to be to see her, then maybe things will just go fine. But yeah, she's up for it, man. Just got to find the perfect time. Might have to be Thursday afternoonish, probably because she works at night. I don't know what time my beautiful babe gets out of bed, man, but once she gets out of it, mate, she can get straight back in it. As far as I'm concerned, I'm ready to rock and roll Thursday anytime, baby. I'll talk to you, man. We need to talk on the phone properly a little bit, if possible, just for 5 minutes, just to pre-arrange a few things. I'm too old for this measured and shit, man. I can do it, but it's a pain in the ass. Just want to discuss. We ain't going to have much time together, so I'm going to discuss our little role play plan in detail. So I'll give you that money, babe, the second that you open that door when it's rock and roll time. Because we don't got long, but we will have one day.
And it's like, well, I can remember saying to Shawn, that's going over the line. Like that's not the way to approach this. We're both guilty of the same thing, whereas I wanted to be the one guy sort of slamming him and saying these things about him, like I say, always with his wrestling character. But by the end, like I said, we all worked into a shoot where things I was saying about him were obviously offensive to him, and the things that he was saying about me were offensive to me. And I think we reached an agreement sometime later that spring where it's like we sat down somewhere and we said, look, I won't say anything to you that I don't ask you. You know, I'll ask you if it offends you, and if you want me to say it, I won't.
You're saying all that shit for me, mates, mate.
It was sort of a tepid kind of treaty or
Trust there.
no, there was zero trust.
You know, it's like, okay, how long do I?
Mate, meant to be mates, mate, is another funny one that only Tom D will understand.
You know.
Fucking thought we were mates, mate. Meant to be mates, mate. What are you doing that for, mate? Meant to be mates.
I did it in such a realistic, sort of nasty way that I think Shawn went, this guy's not being legit with me either. And then he started giving it back to me, and that's when we started. It's like, because Shawn, I felt, wasn't attacking my wrestling character. He was attacking me in real life. And it's like, well, I can remember saying to Shawn, that's going over the line. Like that's not the way to approach this. We're both guilty of the same thing, whereas I wanted to be the one guy sort of slamming him and saying these things about him, like I say, always with his wrestling character. But by the end, like I said, we all worked into a shoot where things I was saying about him were obviously offensive to him, and the things that he was saying about me were offensive to me. And I think we reached an agreement sometime later that spring where it's like we sat down somewhere and we said, look, I won't say anything to you that I don't ask you. You know, I'll ask you if it offends you, and if you want me to say it, I won't. And it was sort of a tepid kind of treaty or.
Sounded like there wasn't a lot of trust there.
No,
Yeah,
there was zero trust.
I mean, you know, it's like, okay, how long do I sit here and do I take, you know, is abuse. You know, I mean, and again, and I don't know. I mean, the things with the boys in the ring, and the subtle suggestions towards being a little less than a man's man. After a while, but I don't know. I didn't think it was attacking my character because because anybody who knows me knows there isn't that much difference between the two. I mean, bringing kids in the ring is thought it was fun. I mean, and then thought they'd get a kick out of it, and I'm just acting like an idiot out there, doing my.
What's the difference
stuff.
in you bring kids in the ring dancing and you putting sunglasses on kids at ringside?
Well, it's a big difference. 5-year-old kids doing strip teases is a little different than putting some sunglasses on a kid. I mean, I really was only working. I understood that Shawn was taking things a different direction. He had an edgier character as a heel, and that got turned into a baby face, much like I had the pink tights. I really didn't. I think he lose sight of what the focus was. I guess probably.
Kids taking their clothes off in the ring with me? I don't remember.
Well, they would do this where they put the thumbs down their pants and pull their pants just about down to the pube line. And I remember watching that and going, "This is not good." This is, and that was just an opinion. But I also saw it as something a way to.
No wonder my son's so strange.
Some realism into my promos with Shawn, so that as a babyface in our babyface showdown at WrestleMania, the way I'd always seen it coming, this is all great stuff. I mean, you posing for Playgirl and doing any of this, so it's a chance for me to say, this is not the role model that I was, and he didn't even beat me at WrestleMania last year, and I want a rematch. And then I had always had I was always seeing these visions of the rematch, winning the title, and then the chase. Shawn now coming for me when he comes back, and then the match again, and the pat on the back was coming.
Don't you think if you give them a pat on the back earlier that maybe some of these things wouldn't have happened?
Yeah, I think probably a lot of it wouldn't happen, but I was trying to make money and it's like when I described my brother Owen calling me the next day after the Anaheim pay-per-view and saying everyone in the dressing room thinks you guys hate each other, and it's like, this is exactly what I want everyone to think that. But Shawn, and I thought we had an understanding about that, but I think we just somehow misunderstood each other maybe at the times.
Well, and also, I mean, I don't think either one of us were intentionally doing any of that. We were just sort of, we were missing each other, misreading each other and stuff like that. And then to top on that, again, I did not, and I can't stress this enough to people, I did not have the ability at that time emotionally, or even professionally to look at something as just business. I mean, it's like now I can sit here, and even when I came back, I say, well, say whatever you want. I mean, there's a genuine ability now to go, I don't care. I don't, I mean, I'm not going to confront anybody about anything they say about me because I just don't care enough, to worry about defending, something. I mean, I'll do it, when I want to, and it'll be done and final. But other than that, I'm not going to squabble back and forth. But then, at that time, man, I mean, paranoia, worried, worried that everybody's looking at you, not doing a good job, I mean,